Ooh, 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 ooh. It's your boy Sheesh Blanco. This technically be episode 1 of the Growth Over Fear Mental Talks or podcast, whichever way you want to call it. If y'all didn't know, I'm Sheesh Blanco, founder of what it is and creator of Growth Over Fear. This, like I said on the update videos, this is mostly going to be talked about mental health and better ways to have better coping mechanisms and just different stories on different people's lives and how they got, even not just over depression, or maybe it could be relationships, it could be many things. It's just conversations that sometimes come off uneasy and make you uncomfortable, but in order to be uncommon, to get things off your chest, to have good conversations that are needed. I just kind of want to go over the background of myself. When I was dealing with the things that I was dealing with mental health wise, I had a bad inability to continue with trying to lose myself in things to not have to deal with it, make it in the sense of temporary emotional stimulants, alcohol or, whatever it might be, and it definitely never worked. It took for me to fall low in the last December, to where I really had to drag myself out of a world where it just wasn't, it was becoming unhealthy. It was becoming extremely uncomfortable because I just wasn't so sure what was going to happen. So, as going through this now and, being in a different place, being in a greater mind state and a better, just being more and just healthy, I think it's good to continue and get back to why I started this brand and why I started doing YouTube in the first place. And it's, like I said, some things can be fun, some things can be certain things, but the real was to have conversations, to reach to other people, to create a platform where people were comfortable, whether I was in the comments or they felt comfortable getting on camera or, over a chat or something, to talk about the things that, may have happened in your household, or, why you were the way you were for this many years, because those are the things that help you grow and elevate and evolve to the person that you're supposed to be, rather than sheltering them and putting them in the back of your mind and carrying them for all these years of harboring. And you might have a grudge towards your mom or towards your dad or towards an ex or something, and you're not growing because your mental stability is just not allowing you to reach that next level. So as we get into it, now in my cases, just to think a couple of things that I figured that work the best is now, doing this, getting the voice out to let people know, this is how you can be better. Talking about it helps me. That's one of my coping skills, to rather, as well as journaling and writing stories, or just things that are in my mind. They help me get out of my head. Working out, hanging out with friends and family, the things of those natures. I would call myself an isolation type person. I isolate myself when I become in that depressed state, or my anxiety rises, because it made more sense. I pushed a lot of people away because of the way that I felt, and I thought that was the right thing to do because I didn't know any better. I didn't know at 6 and 7 years old, when I was having anxiety and panic attacks, that's what that was. Because in my home, those things weren't never talked about. There was never a conversation in which we had to say, it's about nobody, my brother, my sister, nobody ever, spoke about these things. So growing up, and I had to sit back one day in my age of now, a lot of things that I dealt with were very, I would say, psychological and in a mental state, not knowing that you're depressed for a certain reason at 12 years old, but you don't know how, because you're not speaking about it, and you don't come in a place or come up in an environment where you can say oh, I need a therapist, or oh, I need to do this. And I've always been a real open-minded person to creativities and beliefs and stuff like that. So I would if I lost sight of something, it would always kind of put me in a certain type of shell. But I was so young that I could just just pull it out. I just pull myself out of it without needing any extra anything. And I think it didn't hinder me at all. But as I got into my adulthood and life kind of hit me hard, I didn't really know how to deal with it. I didn't know what I was supposed to do, how I was supposed to do it. And it took me years to actually go to therapy, because when you grow up in a minority home or community, they tell you that therapists and stuff like that, therapy is for crazy people, or they're going to put you on medication or something is wrong with you. So when you sit in those motions, and that's kind of what's playing in your head, and you're kind of scared of talking to anybody because you don't want anybody thinking differently of you. And that's something I truly had to let go. And one reason I really started to open up and talk about, the things that I deal with, because I was worried about the effects and the reactions to what people were going to think, like, oh, he's crazy, don't talk to him, whatever it may be. And it messed me up a lot. So I dealt with it for years, like a deep depression, super anxiety to the fact that like I couldn't leave my house. Like going outside, I would have an instant panic attack. And it took time. It took time for me to kind of really like bend to a different level where I was like, okay, I can't keep doing this. And, the alcohol and all that stuff, it was always just temporary. So, you'll do it and you drink and you're happy in that moment. But once that next day come and you it's either drink again or just keep feeling the things. So, in this last December, like I just kind of, fell into it. Like I just took it, and it was harder for me because I started to lose myself. Like I started to lose myself as a person who's not really like just out like that, but as social as I used to be, and just just uplifted and joyful as I usually am. It was just not me. I was always like super like groggy and grumpy and just sad and all these type of things. And I just started to try new methods of stuff like the journaling and all of those things that would start to help me release those things out of my mind. So that's for anybody out there that would say that they needed something or a way to cope or get by or get that out. I would definitely say journaling is probably one of the best things, or just talking. You should video record what you feel, how you feel out loud, so that you can get those things out of your head and you can just feel better about it. Ultimately, the thoughts that you hear are all things and processes of people who've probably said things or done things to you. But that's the point where we have to think we can't self-sabotage if we're trying to self-master. So if we sit there and take the thing, because I'm one of those type of people, like I'll sit there and take it and like just hear all the bad things, and I'll just self-doubt and self-sabotage myself rather than self-mastering, which as you self-master, you become understanding to know that you're not perfect. We're not put here to be perfect. We're put here to just do as we're supposed to do and be happy in any way that is for you to be happy. It's not for the person next to you to tell you, or your parents or anybody to tell you how you're supposed to live or who you're supposed to be. That all comes down the road and on your own path. You can't force that, and nothing of that can come without you going through things in your life. I believe truly going through anxiety and depression and things of that sort led me here. It led me right to this point so that I could be able to speak to all of y'all out there and say, like, without this, I wouldn't have known that, like, at that point, that's what I was dealing with. And I wouldn't tell you how I pulled myself out of it, because I wouldn't have went through it and had to deal with it. So, all those, whether it's drugs, alcohol, whatever it is, women, men, all those things don't make it go away. You have to do it yourself. You have to take that journey and that path alone in order to realize who you are and what your purpose here is to do. Because that's what life is, a test, and you find out what your purpose is. So as you find it, that's all through the path of self-mastery. You would literally have to go down. You're going to fail, you're going to fall, but you're going to get back up. Depression never goes away. Anxiety never goes away. There's just things that can make it stop for a while, and there's medicine that can help you with it, but it doesn't stop. It's just a way you learn to control it. You get the way to understand that this is who I am now, and I have to live with it this way, and I'm stronger than anything that I'm battling, and I can get through it. So within it, you don't ever feel alone. Also, within Growth Over Fear, also my Instagram alone, She's Blanco. If anybody out there, you see this, you come across it, you can write me, direct message me on any of those things you ever need to talk, and have a conversation about your mental health, or if you need to just some coping skills or just something just to talk. Everybody needs someone to talk to. Now understand, like, within taking that path alone, that doesn't mean shut yourself off and then try to battle your mind alone. Having a conversation with a person and telling somebody, like, like, this is what I'm dealing with, the right person. I should also have the right person for that conversation, because sometimes you may come across people who want to tell you how you do this and what you need to do, and that's not how it works, especially when you're in that thought process of maybe you're on the edge, or you just need somebody to vent to. You got to talk to the right people, because sometimes you talk to the wrong people and then you put in this position where now you feel like you're in a worse state than you were when you started, and we don't ever want to be in that. So within that, always have a person, a person you can trust, or if your parents are open like that and they're willing to listen and not tell you like you're wrong for this, you shouldn't feel this, and kind of put you in a worse place, definitely have a conversation. I just got kind of to that point where I can have that conversation with my mom or somebody, and I'm blessed to, have, the people that I can have these conversations with. But like I said, I was an isolating type of person. I was, pushed away, and my depression and anxiety started to turn to anger and rage because I was upset because I wasn't the same person I used to be. And I had to sit back and realize that in life, there's going to be a different 1,000 million, evolutions of yourself. So you're never going to be the same person you were yesterday, because that's what growth is. So literally had to grow, and to break a lot of fears. Like when I say my anxiety was extremely high, I couldn't leave. I couldn't. Everybody who came around me, they came to see me where I was at. They didn't. I wasn't driving. I wasn't doing anything because I was so afraid in this panic, and I was stuck, and it was for years. And it took like a day. I looked at a picture of myself on Christmas about like 2017 or so, and I just looked bad, and I didn't realize it was happening because I was always on this fast track of just not trying to think about what was going on, But there's better days, and there's ways to get through it, and there's better methods. I would always say seek therapy, if possible, if you have the means to do it. If not, get a friend, write it down. So many better ways, so we can try to cut down the casualties of this mental health thing that's going on, because it's all coming from people bullying and people not understanding, and people thinking that it's just so easy to just let it go and like it's supposed to disappear. But that's not how it works, because your mind literally can stop you from doing anything. I was training for football like a few years back, and I had a bunch of weight on for the power clean that I've never done before. And the first thing I did was self-sabotage. Told myself in my head I couldn't do it. Tried to throw it back instantly, like kind of got it halfway, dropped it. And it wasn't until like my coach and I was training with one of my cousins at the time, and it's like kind of gave me the confidence, and I told myself like, you can do it. Had to grow through it, and believe it or not, it was easier than the first time I picked it up. So nobody can ever tell you that your mind or what you're going through is not what it is, because they're not there. They're not inside your body. They don't know what it is you're feeling. So never allow somebody to kind of push you towards that edge to where you feel like, oh, okay, like they don't understand, or they just kind of making it worse. Always kind of have that grounding, understand that it's okay to not be okay. We just got to find ways to get better, any way that is, in the most positive way, not anything that's going to dampen or damage us to where we're not helping to relieve us of the stress and the ache that we go through. Like I said, this is technically, I believe, episode 1. I probably went a little deep on y'all, but it's all good. I'm saying this is what it's going to be about. You can at me, at Sheesh Blanco Agrotherapy, if you ever need to talk or something, you want to converse about. Also, in the comments, if there's something that you want me to talk about, and if I've been through it, I can definitely talk about it. That's the best way. I can't teach what I don't know, and I don't know what I haven't been through. But if I have, I definitely will talk about it. And yeah, man, this is the first one. This is new for me too. Also, just sitting in front of a camera, as I do this alone. So if I'm looking away, it's because I'm trying to not get a little too anxious or feel the need. But it's like I said, to be uncomfortable is to become uncommon. So if I never started to do this, I would never reach the place or reach the people that I want to get to. So everybody, what I'm saying, take that risk no matter what. Your anxieties and and all your depression, you can still do all the things you want to do. You just have to force and push yourself, because nobody else can do it for you. No matter how uncomfortable you may feel that it is for you to do it, you got to make it happen. But thank you so much if you made it through all the way to the end. If you can like the video, comment, subscribe to the channel if you're new here, it's all appreciated. And I hope to see y'all on the next one. Peace and love.